But today, I'm the greatest of all time. Thank you.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers. You better wake up for the pay stub, or you'll pay up. Don't make love to the game, bruh, fuck the game up. Change up, rearrange stuff to your greatness. Same us for the way up, play the game, bruh.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah.
You know I'm always honest, there ain't no way I'll never stop it.
I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top,
I'm always flirting with pain, she likes to hurt me and maim. I'm always working to change, but she's still lurking the same. I keep on building this dynasty while the haters be trying me, but they hate from inside.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Unscripted Live here on the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. I'm your host and producer this evening, Logan Landers, and joining me to talk about some NFL 16 game previews, as always, Jay McLovin.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Man, it's good to talk some NFL with you guys today.
As always, and of course, our resident stat guy, Dustin Reese. Dustin, how you doing, man? Also, let people know about your interview you had early on this morning.
Yeah, doing well, guys. This morning I had Hardin University running back Blake De La Cruz on the program to discuss the national championship run that they just put together, and basically just kind of caught up with him and talked about his past to get to football, his future plans, and just kind of life at Harding and how it's been treating him.
Yeah, so definitely go check that out. It is available on all of our platforms. As mentioned, Dustin did that just a couple of hours ago, and he did a tremendous job. So go out there and check it out. Of course, if you want to check us out, easiest way to do so is on our social media platforms, which you can find on our link tree in description of all of our episodes. So your one-stop shop for all of us on all major platforms. Also, thank you to Northeast Streaming Sports for allowing us to stream this weekly content of some NFL previews on their Roku channel. Go check them out, and you'll see some other great sports content over there. Well, guys, let's get right into it. Let's start off with the Thursday night game. So if you're seeing this on Roku, well, you'll see if we got this right or wrong. But if you're watching it currently, Saints, Rams later on tonight on, of course, Amazon Prime. So, guys, who's taking this one? Jay, I'll let you start off first. Both these teams are at 500. Both have the exact same record. Who do you feel more confident in? Is it going to be the New Orleans Saints or the Los Angeles Rams?
Yeah, like you said, both these guys are 7-7, and then both these guys are fighting for their playoff lives at this point. One of the big things for the Saints is, number one, there's no Lattimore in their secondary. There's no Olave, most likely will not be playing. No Thomas. So you got your top two wideouts and one of your top defensive guys that won't even be out there for you. And I don't think Kamara has actually been playing up to the level which I like to see him playing at. So those are a lot of things right off the bat going up against you. Then you look at Nakua over there for Stafford, who's playing lights out. I mean, the guy's got 1,100 yards on the season, kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, we were even talking about Nakua last year, so this guy really kind of came out of nowhere. Like I said, Kamara's giving you about 3.9 yards. Williams on the opposite side is giving you 5.2 yards per carry. So they really, I think the deck is really stacked up in the favor of the Rams in terms of the run game, the defensive game, the wide receivers. The Stafford, all he's got to do is go out there and play Stafford-like, just be the game manager, facilitate the ball to your top tier wideouts and Atwell and Nakua and so forth. Like I said, both teams are coming off wins against the NFC East opponents. Not that really means a lot because the Commanders and the Giants really both suck horribly bad. So I don't really put a lot of stock into that per se. I think, like I said, the Rams just got to go out there and play Rams football. I'm not saying that the Saints are just going to roll over and die, but I just think they're going to be outmatched talent-wise at a lot of the key skilled positions, and I don't think Derek Carr is going to have enough wide receiver help or even running back help to help him pull out that game. So for that reason and that reason alone, I got the Rams getting this win today, or tonight, I should say. I'm going to go 28-13, favor of the Rams.
All right, Dustin, do you have a similar result? Do you think the Rams will take this one, or will the Saints pull it out?
Well, for the first time in a month, we should have a good Thursday night game. Doesn't mean that we will, because I don't think anyone expected the Raiders to
That was a great game for me.
take the Chargers out back and beat them like a stinking runaway puppy dog last week. But, I mean, you look at the situation both teams are in. You have the Saints, who are fortunate enough to be in the division that they're in, because at 7-7, they have a legitimate shot to win that division and make the playoffs. But with some of the NFC also going down the crapper the last couple of weeks, they're still in position to get that final wild card spot too. So the Saints have a ton to play for, not just for a playoff spot, but for the division itself. And you can say the same thing about the Rams, who are also sitting at 7-7, but they actually do hold that final playoff spot right now. So a win here kind of moves them up to the number 6 seed and kind of furthers their resume to make it to the postseason. The Rams especially were one of those teams that got off to a slow start because Cooper Kupp wasn't healthy. And then you had Puka Shell and Nakua kind of have that breakout 6-7 game stretch at the beginning of the year. Cooper Kupp came back. Nakua kind of struggled a little bit because Matthew Stafford was trying to force feed the ball to Cooper Kupp a lot more. But now you see both Kupp and Nakua starting to play in kind of that 1A and 1B type of role together, mixed in with Kyron Williams, who's emerging as one of the better young running backs in the league. And this Rams team is starting to play the Rams football that they want to play. Obviously not at the same level they were when they won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, but they're starting to get back to playing that complementary football that Sean McVay has become so known for since his time in Los Angeles. I just like the way the Rams are playing right now. I mean, defensively, the Saints are better than the Rams, but offensively, the Rams have the much better offense. And without Chris Olave and some of the weapons the Saints have, I don't think they'll be able to score enough points to keep up with the Rams. I do think it'll be a close game, but I think the Rams take it 23-17.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams are hot coming into this game, right? We know, the Rams, obviously, they've been looking really good. Matthew Stafford has looked like the Matthew Stafford of old in the last few games. He's looked really sharp. And the Saints are in control of their own destiny in that horrific NFC South, where just no one wants to win. So if they win, I mean, there's a good chance that, if they keep winning out for the next few weeks, they'll get a chance to win the division with just how mediocre it has been this year. And as for the Rams out there, obviously they're in a tough division in the NFC West. The 49ers are clearly the top team out there. So the Rams are fighting for that wild card position, trying to just kind of sneak in at this point, just with how dominant San Francisco has been. But like I said, they've been doing good. They've got some solid players. I think this should be a really good game, really highly contested matchup. So if I had to go, I'll go with the close winner. Give me the Rams taking the W in this one. I'll go final score of 28-21, 7-point ball game. I think that both these teams are going to be fighting for something, obviously, and it'll show on the gridiron later on tonight. All right, moving on, fellas. We're going on to the Cowboys taking on the Miami Dolphins in a highly looked at matchup for both these teams. Both of them looking to get on track, keep that winning momentum going as we inch closer and closer to the playoffs. So, Jay, I'll let you start things off. Give your preview of your Cowboys taking on that tremendous offense out there in Miami.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is probably, in my opinion, the game of the week. And it's the game of the week for me for a lot of reasons. Two of the biggest reasons for me is, number one, the Cowboys are fighting for the divisional lead. Right now they're currently tied with the Eagles at 10-4, but the Cowboys do have a better conference record, so that still puts them ahead of the Eagles by the record of their conference. But still, it's very, very close with these guys. You also got the Dolphins on the other side. that are wanting to keep their spot, highly, or at least try to get that top AFC spot. And then they're battling that out with the Ravens, who feel like they're being extremely disrespected because they're considered the underdogs. So there's a lot of riding on both of these teams for various reasons. Now you look at Miami; they're riding a huge momentum coming off that 30-0 blowout over the Jets, and then you got the Bills coming out the blowout win over the Cowboys at 31-10. So the Cowboys got a really tough schedule. They had the Bills, they got the Dolphins, they got the Lions after that. So they got a lot of really tough games in their schedule. Now, I will tell you one thing about the Cowboys is every time they have a blowout game, they usually come back and win the next game. So I'll tell you, if Miami loses to the Cowboys and the Bills lose the division, the Bills can win the division if the Cowboys beat the Bills, the Cowboys beat the Dolphins, because the Bills will play the Dolphins eventually before the so this actually is very pivotal for the Bills to actually get the divisional lead over Miami. So it starts with the Cowboys getting the win here, and then the Bills got to take care of business when they play Miami. But it could wind up that the Bills could still win that division. So this is a very big game, not only for the Cowboys, but for what it means for the Bills trying to get, number one, in the playoffs, and number two, trying to win the division. So that's why I say a lot of stuff is riding on this game. Cowboys are still trying to win the division. Like I said, Hill sat out last week. Tyreek Hill did with his ankle. So be curious to see if we get Tyreek Hill in this game. But one thing I want to point out, Logan, is that Dak Prescott, to all the tough games that he's played through, he's only got 7 interceptions and 28 touchdowns, which is still far better than pretty much any other quarterback in the league, with maybe the exception of Stroud. I think Stroud has maybe a little bit better on the interception number. Tua is over there with 10 interceptions but 25 touchdowns. And again, I think a lot of that really depends on if Tua plays or not. I got to be honest with you, Logan. I think, Ferguson and that tight end spot has been huge and pivotal for Dak. CD is doing what CD does. He's doing great at the number 1 spot. Bland is fitting in real nicely, taking over for Trayvon Diggs with 5 NFL pick sixes, which is a record. I really believe. Now, this game will be in Miami, so that is something to consider. But I really believe that the Cowboys really want this win bad, because I think it's going to determine how well they finish in this playoffs. Not that the Dolphins don't, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys on this. They get the win. It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be 28-21 in favor of the boys.
All right. Dustin, who's winning this one?
Yeah, scary to think about what you just said too, Jay, with Deron Bland and those 5 pick sixes. When Trayvon Diggs returns to that secondary next year, and you have both of those guys, because I think Diggs had, 3 pick sixes last year?
I believe so.
Yeah, you have 2 guys that are just going to be known for pick six pretty much every time they're out there. That's going to be a nightmare for quarterbacks to deal with. But you look at this game, I'm very surprised this has not been flexed into Sunday night yet, because you look at the Sunday night game, it's the Patriots and the Broncos. And I think this is a better matchup than the Patriots and the Broncos. So I'm surprised the NFL hasn't moved this game into Sunday night, especially with Christmas Eve and people being around their families and around their TVs, and everybody knows the reputation that the Dallas Cowboys have about America's team and things like that. Don't you think that this game would have a higher rating than the Patriots and the Broncos? I think it would. That's just me. But anyways, this is a big game for both teams. Kind of what Jay said. Dallas, obviously, they're tied with the Eagles, but by default, because of tiebreakers, they have the division lead right now. They basically need to keep winning, because you look at the Philadelphia schedule. Unless Philadelphia goes into complete tailspin mode, Philadelphia should win out. They have the Giants twice, and I think they have another beatable team mixed in there. So the Eagles have the easier schedule than Dallas does the rest of the way. So Dallas has that mindset where the only way they're going to win the division is to win out. But you can kind of make that same case for Miami, where they have to win 2 of their last 3 games to for sure clinch the division or get some help. But their only hopes, in my opinion, to get home field in the playoffs is pretty much to win out too, because Baltimore's playing so well themselves. And then Miami has that dark cloud hanging over their head where they have not beaten a good team yet. All their wins have come against bottom feeder teams. All their losses have come against the better teams in the conference. And if Miami wants to be taken seriously, this is the game that they need to have to be taken seriously, because they got crushed by the Eagles, they got crushed by Buffalo, and they got crushed by another team. This is the win they need to have to show that they are a legitimate threat to come out of the AFC. I think this is going to be a very exciting game. It's one of those coin flip games where you can't really go wrong based on who you're picking at this point. But I'm going to go with Dallas 27-24 because Dallas has more to play for than the Dolphins do just because of the race they have in Philly right now.
Well said. Yeah, you brought up a good point there, Dustin. This is really just a coin flip game, and you could see either of these teams winning. We know both these teams are solid on pretty much both sides of the ball, and it could go either way. For me, I'll also keep it a close score in favor of – I'll go with the Cowboys. I think just because you just mentioned that both these teams have had some tough losses this year, and this is another huge game. So we'll see who comes out on top, who is, quote unquote, the better team, at least between these two in the NFC and the AFC. I'll go with Cowboys, close victory, final score. I'll go 24 for Dallas, and I'll go 21 for the Dolphins. I think it's going to be a good game, though. I think if Tyreek is back, which we're not, are we sure if he's playing tonight?
He's not playing tonight, but he's a game time decision for Sunday. But they should have an answer by tomorrow if he's going to go.
Yeah, Sunday. Yeah, my bad. So I think obviously if he's playing, that's a big factor. Jalen Waddle, he had a really good week last week. So if he's not playing, obviously expect more out of him. But with Tyreek there, I mean, it's a whole nother ball game. So either way, I got the Cowboys winning a close one, but this is definitely going to be a really good game. Like Dustin mentioned, how's this one not been flexed to the night game? All right, we're going back to the AFC battle out in the West between the Las Vegas Raiders and, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs. Longtime rivals. Dustin, I'll let you start things off. Who's taking the win in this one? Can the Chiefs get back on track?
I think they can get back on track, and then more so than they can, I think they need to get back on track because there seems like there's just a lot of turmoil within that organization right now, and not necessarily because they're calling people out. I think they're just put in a position they're not used to be putting in, and they just don't know how to respond to it yet because they're not used to kind of facing the adversity they've faced this year with Mahomes because it's been pretty much smooth sailing since the day he took over as the starter. When it comes to the Raiders, after the performance that they had last Thursday against the Chargers, how can you not give Antonio Pierce that job next year? The team is playing extremely well under Antonio Pierce. They are showing more fight under Antonio Pierce than they did under Josh McDaniels. And you're starting to kind of see the same team that they had when Rick Bisaccia took over for John Gruden, where I think if the Raiders could have a do-over, they wouldn't have got rid of Rick Bisaccia and they would have kept him instead of hiring John Gruden. So
that's what I said.
Or not John Gruden, but Josh McDaniels. But so I think the Raiders are going to try to avoid a similar situation with Antonio Pierce because the team has responded in a big way under Antonio Pierce.
All right.
Regardless, this game's in Kansas City. Everybody knows what Patrick Mahomes' career record in December is. He's 23-2 now as a starter in December, and he lost his first December game in 14 or 15 games when he lost the first game earlier this month. He just plays at a different level when he gets to December, and he was not very good against New England, but I mean, Cardarius Toney did not help his cause either. But I do like Kansas City in this one. I think it will be a closer game than one some people expect just because the Raiders are playing much tougher for Pierce. But I'm going to go 24-20 Kansas City.
All right. Jay, similar result?
Yeah, how important is Eric Bieniemy or was Eric Bieniemy to this team? I still feel like the Chiefs are suffering from not having Eric Bieniemy as their offensive coordinator and also not having really a true number one wide receiver. I mean, they have Kelsey, and that really is their number one wide receiver. But, it would be nice if Kelsey actually had somebody like a Tyreek Hill or Juju or whoever that could take some of the weight off of his shoulders and put a little bit on somebody else's just to kind of give a more balanced attack. Pacheco's got to have a great game. He can't, he needs to continue to have a great game or a great season, really, to get ready for the tougher teams. I don't see the Raiders being a tough team for them, although the Raiders did blow out the Chargers, and which ultimately led to Staley's firing. But at the same time, I got to tell you, man, this Raiders team, they are beatable. Logan, no offense, but they're beatable. And the Chiefs need this. They need this win to get that momentum back. I mean, this kind of is a momentum builder for them getting ready to go up against some of the tougher teams that they're going to have to face. But yeah, man, look, the Chiefs beat New England, which we knew that would happen. So we're going to see, I'm assuming we're going to see O'Connell versus Mahomes in this particular matchup. And you got to think, I mean, if the Chiefs lose this game, then I don't know, man. The whole world's just going to go crazy and just say, okay, maybe the Chiefs season is just done. Maybe they're just done and they need to recalibrate and figure out something else. But, this game is pivotal for the Chiefs. Not so much the Raiders, not so much for the NFL. This game is only pivotal for the Chiefs to start that momentum build towards doing something in later on when they got to play the tougher teams, because they've been in a slump, Logan. They've been a nasty, crazy little funk, and they need this kind of a game to help continue to get them out of that funk.
Yeah, it's kind of strange seeing the Chiefs struggle and I say struggle, it's not like they're having a bad season, but not be as dominant is the better term, as we've seen over the past, 5 years or so.
Right.
You see there's kind of cracks in that armor, that they're not as sharp as we've seen them. And it's very strange. It is very strange. You see Kelsey dropping balls, which is something he never does. He's having a little bit of an off year. And, as for the Raiders, they started off the year obviously not on the right foot, but since they've gotten rid of their coach, brought on an interim, they've looked better. I'm not saying they've been great, but they have looked definitely a lot better, like a better just football team in general, like they want to be on the field. So that's great for chemistry. But it's like the little brother and the big brother. That's how it's been for a long time in the West with the Raiders and Chiefs. And unfortunately, as much as I would love for this to be a Christmas present for me, for the Raiders to win in a heck of an upset, I just can't go that way, unfortunately. As we know, try to be unbiased here as much as we can. So I'll go with the Kansas City Chiefs getting the win in this one. Final score, though, I'll keep it tight. Give me 24-17 in favor of KC. All right, Giants and Eagles. Like I said, Tommy Cutlets, is his story over? Is he done for? Or will the Eagles keep on rolling? Jay, go up first.
The best thing about the Giants is Tommy DeVito. I never would have saw a name DeVito being synonymous with the best thing that could happen to New York. But DeVito is the best thing that has happened to New York. It sure as hell ain't Daniel Jones. Matter of fact, if I'm the New York Giants, I'm thinking about trying to trade Daniel Jones, see what I can get for him. Maybe look to the draft, see what I can pull out of the draft. And if I don't, then I'm going to ride with Danny DeVito or Tommy DeVito next year, and we're going to continue to build this program because he's definitely way better than Daniel Jones. I hate to say that, but he just says he does a different feel when he's on the team or when he's on the field than what is when Daniel Jones is out there. This game really has no bearing for anybody other than the Eagles. The NFL could care less. I certainly could care less. The New York Giants fans could probably really care less when you think about it, because they know that their team is garbage, dog, poo-poo, and they're not going to do anything this year anyway. This is only just maybe a divisional thing. But really, it really depends. It really amounts the most for the Eagles because, like you said earlier, Logan, they're trying to keep pace with the Cowboys, and this is the kind of win that they should get. I'm curious as if we will see Mariota or if we will get Jalen Hurts in this game. He was battling that illness. Hurts was when they put him in. He didn't look good. He just doesn't look anything. Last game he just looked terrible. Let's just be honest. I think he had like 2 interceptions. It was horrible against the Seahawks. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Mariota in there, just depending on Jalen Hurts. But even if it is Mariota, let's just say worst case scenario. Let's say Mariota's in there. This team should have no problems defensively or offensively taking the punishment to New York. And if they don't, well, shame on them, and they are who we thought they were, pretenders.
All right. And who do you have winning this one again?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have Philly winning this. I think it'll be a blowout, honestly, regardless of who's at quarterback. So I'm going to say 35-13 favor of the Eagles.
Dustin, similar result, or are you going with the upset?
Well, to Jalen Hurts, not to give Jalen Hurts any excuses, but he was playing with the flu on Monday. So I'm not sure if he was 100% in that game. I don't think he should have played anyways because he did not look good at all, really, at any point in the game. And for the most part, he really hasn't looked good the last 3 weeks, which is kind of why the Eagles have lost 3 games in a row. But for my sake, I need the Eagles to blow them out because Jalen Hurts is my quarterback for the fantasy playoffs this week, and I need him to look like the Jalen Hurts the first 8 or 9 games, not the Jalen Hurts the last 5 weeks that he's been playing. But yeah, I mean, it's an NFC East game. The Giants, for whatever reason, always seem to match up pretty well against the Eagles during the regular season. But then once they get to the playoffs, it's a completely different story. But given that the Eagles have 2 games with the Giants in their final 3 weeks, I really don't like Tommy DeVito's chances in this one, especially with that Eagles pass rush. I think they're going to get after him early and often. I think they're going to force a lot of turnovers. I think kind of going off of what Jay said, I think this is just going to be a blowout. I'm going to go 35-10.
Yeah, I think the Tommy DeVito story had its Linsanity run, and it's I think the Eagles get back on track, snap their 3-game losing streak, and I think they'll roll in this one. Final score, I'll go with Philadelphia 34, and I'll go with the New York Giants putting up. I'll be generous, guys. It's the holiday season. I'll have them getting 20, but ultimately, I think the Eagles get back on track. All right, last game, and it's the best game. Ravens 49ers. Dustin, who's winning this matchup of the Titans here?
This could be a Super Bowl preview when you kind of look at how these teams are playing right now. Baltimore is arguably the quietest number 1 seed in NFL history because nobody's talking about them being the number 1 seed in the AFC, even though they are. And that's just kind of a testament to John Harbaugh and just the job he's done at Baltimore, because everyone expects Baltimore to be in the playoffs every single year. Everyone expects Baltimore to be a tough outcome the playoffs, so nobody really talks about them when they start to have a good season like they're having now. And then on the flip side, you have the San Francisco 49ers, who at one point had a 3-game losing streak, but I don't think people even realize they had that 3-game losing streak because since then, this is the best team in football, and it's not even close. Brock Purdy's playing at an MVP level, and you could make the case that he might get the MVP after the game that he had last week. Christian McCaffrey's doing Christian McCaffrey things. Deebo Samuel's gotten back to his self. You still have Brandon Ayuk delivering at the level he's played at, and now since they've added Chase Young to that defense, their defense has just been playing insane. And the last 6 games since that most recent loss that they've had, this team is just playing at another level. You can tell they're hungry. You can tell they know that they are the best team in the NFC, and they're kind of playing with that swag that they have that kind of best team in the NFC mindset. I'm not going to go against the 49ers right now. I like the way they're playing. I like what Shanahan has done there. I just like that defense. But this is going to be an all-out war against Baltimore. I'm going to go 24-23 San Francisco.
All right, Jay. Who's winning this one?
Yeah, again, it's battle of 11 and 3. It's battle of the 2 best records on both sides of the NFL. Ravens are coming off a 4-game win streak. 49ers coming off a 6-game win streak. I am going to differ with my thought process of the 49ers. Stat Guy said it wasn't close. I think it is close. We also know the 49ers had a 2-game slump period. We also know that the Eagles have had a slump period. And we also know that Dallas has lost a couple of blowout games. But they haven't lost 2 in a row. They have, so I don't know if it's going to say close or not even close, because I think it is. I don't think there's really any one consistently separated team that has separated themselves. With that having been said, though, the 49ers, I think, have a little bit more weaponry than what the Ravens have. The Ravens do have a good defense, so I don't want to take that away from them. And they're going to need every bit of that defense to contain the likes of McCaffrey, Ayuk, Kittle, Deebo, and company. Purdy just has to go out there and not try to do too much, just play within the system and let the system take care of business on its own. Mm-hmm. The 49ers have a good defense with Bosa and company. Chase Young now is over there. I think he's hopefully going to be rounding back into form. But, again, for the Ravens, there's no Mark Andrews. That's like their number 1 guy, and he's not there. So they got Zay Flowers and Yep. And then I think Keaton Mitchell goes down with injury. So now I guess you're going to have to rely on.
Jay, what's your final score?
Huh?
What's your final score? We're going to wrap things up.
Oh yeah, final score is 49ers 35-14.
All right, I appreciate it, my friend. Final score for me in this one, I think I'll go with the 49ers. I just think they're too dominant right now. Final score in this one, I'll go 35-28 is our big Monday night preview. As always, Jay McLovin, Dustin Reese, it's a pleasure talking sports with you each and every single week. With your host, producer, Logan Landers. Check us out on all of our social media channels here you see. And, of course, we are on LinkedIn. Guys, enjoy your Christmas. We'll talk to y'all on another live episode.